What's up YouTube? KS Gun Guy here to talk to you a little bit about the Sig Sauer P320 Sub Compact. Before I do, however, I want to first thank each and every one of you for viewing this video, and if you've seen any of my other videos, thanks for watching those as well. Really appreciate it. They've gotten some great responses so far, and because of that I'm going to keep doing these because I have a lot of fun doing them, and it seems like some other people enjoy hearing about these guns and just hearing what others have to say about these guns. Maybe you own it, maybe you're interested in it, and hopefully these videos help, or at least enjoyable to some degree. So keep liking and sharing and subscribing those videos, and again, I will keep making them for sure. So I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about the P320 subcompact, and if you've seen my compact video, I started out with that one by saying that I really had very little interest in the P320 line by Sig Sauer. I just the only gun that I had felt at first was the subcompact, and I really felt like the grip was very small since it's on the small frame, which I'll talk about here in just a little while. But I also felt like it was pretty slide heavy, so I really didn't have much of an interest. However, I did go ahead and get the compact model, which you see before you right here, and I'll talk about that here in just a moment, or compare it with this one. I was very impressed with the shootability of the gun, and it was far more comfortable than I thought it was going to be. Now the compact sits on a medium frame versus the small frame of this one, which is what it comes with. And so again, I'll talk a little bit more about that and what you can do to remedy that. But after going ahead and getting this, I found a great deal on a used P320 with the night sights and all that. I decided, what the heck, I'll go ahead and try it because the compact was far better than I thought it was going to be, and I couldn't be more pleased. This gun, the subcompact, really surprised me quite a bit. I'm going to just show you. It is unloaded, of course. It is riding on a small frame. Now this is the Field Dark Earth frame right here, and I actually did special order this. It's wintertime here and coming up on Christmas, and I got to tell you, trying to find the medium frame in FDE for this gun was next to impossible. I checked 5 or 6 different websites, including Sig Sauer and some of the big sites, Brownell, Midway USA, and a few other supply shops, and just simply couldn't find it. But I did find the small in the Flat Dark Earth, and the small seems to do a little bit better for me than I really thought it would. Although again, anytime I pick up this gun with the small frame, I just think, man, this is going to be tiny. It's going to fly out of my hand, and it makes the slide seem even more heavy than it really is. But that really hasn't been the case, and the more I think about it, with the small frame does not come with an accessory rail. I actually kind of like that. I think it makes it look a little bit more sleek versus the medium and then the large frames for the compact and the full-size models. Those do come with the rail. I think it's perfectly fine on a compact or a full-size frame because you might be hanging a light or laser or grenade launcher, whatever you're into, off of your firearm. But with a subcompact gun that I really feel is truly designed for carry, I'm not so interested in putting lasers, lights, grenade launchers, that sort of thing on this. That to me is not its purpose. It would be in a holster, and I know some holsters do accommodate for accessories. It's just not as big of an interest. So I went ahead and got this, and again, it's been a delight at the range. It's been a great shooter. I haven't shot it with this frame yet, but I have shot it with the black frame right here, which I put in the box for the new frame that I got. And in a later video, I think I'll change these frames out and just kind of show you how that's done if you're interested. I'm not going to do it on this video to save some time. So how does this stack up compared not only to its bigger sibling, the compact, but also how it compares to a couple of other guns that I consider direct competition to this? And one thing of note, and something that I notated in my compact video, the compact is, I consider it kind of a version 2 or a Gen 2 or maybe a Gen 1.5. What I mean by that is the takedown lever is streamlined. You'll see that the takedown lever on this one is quite a chunk of steel here versus the compact, which is a bit more streamlined. And then also the slide release is significantly smaller on the compact versus the subcompact. Now, if I had my druthers, I would actually do a combination of the two, and what I mean by that is I really like the lower profile takedown lever. However, I kind of like the bigger slide release. I do use this from time to time versus an overhand slide manipulation. And this one just, there's not a lot of beef. Now, it's enough, and I can definitely use it, but especially when I'm trying to lock the slide open. Yes, this is unloaded. This one's a little bit harder to reach and to make sure that I'm positively engaging it to lock the slide open. It's doable, not that big of a deal. It's a small criticism or a small observation on my part, but that is certainly a difference between the two. So how else do these two guns stack up? So from a size standpoint, obviously the subcompact is going to be just a little bit smaller, not only from a height standpoint, but also a length standpoint. I'll bring in the specs either on the bottom or on the side of this video rather than just spouting out all of the specs for you, so you can read that at your leisure. But there is certainly a size difference there. However, from a width standpoint, they are both the same, and if I remember correctly, the width is 1.4 inches. So both of these are the same from a width standpoint, and from a conceal standpoint. Of course, if you're inside the waistband, width can definitely matter to you. This is a pretty chunky gun. However, it's light, and it is certainly doable from a carry standpoint if you don't mind a little bit of extra width. So that's how these two stack up to each other from a size standpoint. I don't have the full-size frame. However, I do in an upcoming video. I have the full-size RX with the Romeo red dot sight on its way, and I'll be doing a review on that as well. And I'll be able to put all three of these side by side and how they stack up. I'm really excited for that RX. Hopefully it'll get here in the next week or so. With the holidays, it might be a little bit later than that, but stay tuned for that video for sure. So how does this stack up against some of its direct competition? You may have seen my video on the comparison between the Smith & Wesson 9C, which you've got here, and the Glock 26, both also unloaded. I know I didn't just rack the slide in front of you, but all of these guns have been safety checked off camera. So these are pretty close. Now, the P320 obviously stands a little bit tall. In fact, I'll put the 9C here in between them. Because the P320 is the tallest of the three. Then you've got your 9C and then your Glock 26 right here. I've basically declared the winner between these two as the Glock 26, and largely because of its frame size and its overall size. It's just more what I consider a true subcompact gun from a width and a height, length standpoint, that sort of thing. So they are very, very similar. I think the biggest difference, of course, is going to be in your width, and the Glock being under 1.2 inches versus the other two that are 1.2 or larger from a width standpoint. The Glock's got an edge there a little bit on the width. However, again, all three of these guns perfectly carryable, certainly from a weight standpoint, which again, I'll wheel in those stats here in just a little bit, and check out my other video on these two for more specifics on those. So the Sig is definitely falls in the realm of subcompact, especially against its bigger sibling, the compact. And I think the size is pretty much just right, and it shoots great at the range. Again, even with the small frame, I really had a great time with it. So let's take a look at a little bit of shooting with this, and I'll also bring in a little bit of shooting with the P320 Compact, just so you can get kind of an idea of at least how one person shoots the two against each other. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that footage at the range. Again, this is definitely a shooter. I touted about the trigger on the P320 Compact quite a bit, and the Subcompact is no different. It's the same trigger mechanism, and it's a sweet trigger. So again, unloaded. This trigger is going to be an all-steel trigger. It does not have the Glock safe action little dingus in the middle, and it's not a hinged trigger like the M&P. This is just an all-steel trigger. So there is a little bit of uptake here, but not a lot. It pretty quickly finds the wall, and it's a solid wall, and it's got a nice tactile break on it. In fact, the break on this is just a hair more, I don't know how I want to put it, more defined perhaps than the Compact, but only by a little bit. The Compact has a little bit more mush to it, not by a lot. And then our reset. The reset is very short, which is nice, and there is hardly any travel or any creep back to the wall at all. So it's a very nice trigger. And I missed my break there, sorry about that. Try that one more time. All right, so I'm back. I had a little bit of an issue with getting the break to be audible and tactile. I know it can be. For whatever reason, it's not doing that right now. And I don't know if it's because it's got the new frame on it. I don't know if I need to reseat the trigger module in here. But I'll have to take a look at that, and I'll try and make some sort of little update video at some point in time. However, I do know that this gun really, from a break standpoint and an overall trigger standpoint, it's extremely similar to the Compact. And unfortunately, I couldn't really diagnose it off camera in the minute or two that I disappeared. I think it's a shooter. It was pleasantly surprising to shoot, even with its smaller frame, especially the small grip size frame on it. There's enough traction in the grip here, and you'll see it inherited the same grip texture that the Compact and the full size did, and there's enough in the front strap, back strap, and on the sides to really grip enough of your hands. It's a little slick, I'll admit, but there's enough texture there. Could it stand to use maybe a Talon grip or something like that? Yeah, it probably could, but it's doable. And so again, I found it to be pretty easy to shoot at the range. So along with the P320 Compact, the Subcompact also is a modular design. And what I mean by that is when you break it down, the trigger module right here, and I'm not going to pull it out in this video, I did in the Compact, and if I do a frame exchange video of some sort or another, which I may, I'll go ahead and pull this out, but I'm not going to do it this time. But the trigger module here is the actual registered firearm, and you can pull the whole thing out, which really it takes about a minute to do or so. And when you do that, you can then put it into a new frame, kind of like I did with this, or you can even put it into a larger frame size. So you could go from the Subcompact to the Compact, or the full size and the 9mm, the 40 or the 357 Sig. This module or this trigger module will work in all of those. Now I understand that the 45 ACP, it's actually a different trigger module to accommodate the larger round. I think there's some subtle differences. It might even be in placement of the various pieces. I've never seen the 45, but from what other reviewers say, that is the case. However, again, this is interchangeable with all the other calibers and the other sizes, and you can get full caliber replacement kits at Sig and probably at other supply companies for kind of maybe the $400 range or so, which really isn't a bad deal considering you're basically getting another firearm. However, you could also look at it as maybe spending another $100 or $200 and actually getting a complete full firearm with the trigger assembly, kind of like these two both have in them. So your mileage may vary on that. Now with this, I did mention in the beginning of the video, this does have night sights on it. Again, for me, if this becomes a carry gun for me, night sights are a requirement. And these are good quality Sig light night sights on them, all steel construction with a defined ledge on them if you have to do one-handed manipulations. So there's a little bit of value in that, especially since I got this used. And I think I got it used for under $500. That's pretty good value. Night sights aftermarket are usually $80 to $130 or so, depending on what you want and where you find them. So good value with that. Now it does come with only 2 of the, I want to make sure, 12-round magazines, all steel here. And these magazines aren't cheap. These magazines you probably could find anywhere from $38 or $39 up to $50, depending on where you look. So they are not cheap. Now, the nice thing, just like Glocks and Smith & Wessons and some of the other makers out there, its bigger sibling magazines will fit and work just fine. This is the compact magazine. It's a 15-round magazine, and it works just fine. And then the full size with the 17-round magazine also works. I don't have any yet, of course, but those will work. So a little bit of an advantage if you do have the larger frame size or the larger guns. They are interchangeable. So that's kind of nice, but again, unfortunately, it didn't come with 3 magazines. I always like to see a gun come with 3 magazines out of the box. But considering the price of this, new or used with the 2 magazines, I still consider it a pretty good deal, especially if you get with the night sights. I think list price on this is going to fall probably in the $600 or maybe just a little bit more than $600 range. I'll bring that MSRP in here in just a moment. And then without the night sights, I think you're looking in the $530, $540 range. But as far as I'm concerned, the night sights are necessary, and I think they're a good value if you want to spend a few extra bucks with it. So overall, I've been very impressed with the subcompact, even with the small grip, especially because it's sleek. I like that. I don't care for a rail on such a small gun, and even though it is a little bit slide heavy, especially without a magazine in it or without a full magazine in it, when I'm on the range and I'm shooting, I really don't notice it. It's okay. Even with the higher bore axis of the gun's sitting a little bit higher up versus maybe a Glock or an HK, something like that, it still shoots very well at the range. So I'd love to hear your comments and love to hear what you think about the subcompact or any of the other lineup of the P320s, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.